Hey, Boix. How's it going? We are going to be doing some coloring today. I hope you can hear me fine. Uh, I haven't done this in so long that I forgot where to put the mic. And so I was just kind of like finagling it somewhere. It's right over here. Uh, but I hope you can hear me. The tricky part with the mic is that I have to sometimes like move the Cintiq into my lap. It doesn't live there. It like clicks up, clicks down. So sometimes it's a bit loud, but it's audible. That's all right. I'll take a bit loud because I might be a little quiet too, and then you can hear me. Um, I can turn it down just a tad. How's that? That's a little. I'm not in the red anymore. Um, yeah. So, let's talk about what we're doing today. Um, we're coloring some Dungeon Meshi. This is Delicious in Dungeon in English. This is the page that I flatted. You can. It's clearly here. This is the character. This is the character. It's Marcel. She's a mage from Delicious in Dungeon, which is a fantastic manga. Here's like a little. It's these like. What's up, Diatra? Sound is clear. Good, good, good. Uh, so, Delicious in Dungeon is kind of about this party of adventurers who get into this dungeon in order to save their friend who is slowly being digested by a dragon. That's kind of it in a nutshell, but it kind of evolves from there into like what the dungeon is and like why they are really there and blah 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 blah. It starts out high concept, goes into low concept about like the food we eat and how we take care of ourselves and like the food chain and the ethics of eating things and things like that. It's a really brilliant manga. Um, can't mention it enough. I mentioned it on the podcast all the time. Um, we're gonna clean this up just a little bit. So I kind of don't like the little chapter break thing here, so we're just gonna try to get rid of that. Um, by the way, this page is available on the Discord if you want to give it a shot. Anything that I'm gonna try to start to do this. Anything that I color here on Twitch, I'm gonna put up in the Discord when I can, so you guys can practice too at home. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Here is my Discord. If you scroll down to the art and section here, we have where is it? No, art resources maybe. I don't even know where it is. Flatted pages for practice. Here it is. Download it right now. So, what's up, JP? How you doing? Good to see you. It's kind of a comedy. I mean, it is, but it isn't, because there's like high stakes. We're gonna add a little bit of black at the top of here just to like even it out. Here's the original page. So let me talk about how I got this page, because clearly this is not ready to color, but this is ready for color. So I took this page. It's kind of a comedy. Yeah. I don't know. It's a wild book. You should just read it. It's great. I think the last volume's coming out soon, so time to jump on it. And the anime's coming out soon, so it's gonna be big. Um, this was I had the Kindle versions, and I put them on my I put them on my 2K monitor over here on the side here, and just kind of screenshot it, and then I dumped it into a site that's like, I think it's like bigjpeg.com or something stupid like that, where you can kind of just like triple the size, quadruple the size. You can make it as big as you want. So I took this like raw file and plugged it into this AI algorithm. Hence, it's like a little bit soupy, or like it's like slick oily, that like look that AI does all the time. So it's not perfect. Excuse me, I'm still kind of fighting a cough. It's not perfect, but when we're done and we like zoom out and post it on social media stuff, it'll serve its purpose. It'll be good enough to like communicate that we're able to color and stuff like that. Um, so, but I wanted to keep the original here, just in case, because there might be some details that like her nose. If you pay attention to that, like here we can side by side them. Like if you look at this line art, you can clearly see that like stuff is going missing. Like the AI kind of like didn't know what to do here and kind of like put some hatching in, and then her nose, like just the little like smudge got totally omitted. So we're gonna try to use the original as kind of a guide. There's also a hair here that the AI just missed. The AI also not great with zip tone. So like all this like zip tone that's different in every column here all got like kind of just mishmashed in the AI nonsense and then just completely destroyed. I don't know. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. So I had to like go in by hand and like basically clean it all up, just get rid of it. So that's why like you could see around the ear it's a little rough. That's because the AI was like having a tough time, and then I just kind of went in and did my best, you know. Didn't kill myself on it, but like just tried to do my level-headed best. So we're just gonna kick her over to her regular color scheme here. She is blonde. This is like a very... We're not gonna totally stick to the color scheme like religiously. She does... Is this a thing with anime, by the way? Her like eye should be black in the middle and it's white, and I didn't know how to deal with that. I don't know how to deal with that because it doesn't ever look right to me. Like it looks like it should be black. Is it supposed to be the shine in the eye? But we can add those later. I don't know. I'm almost like we should just do black. Oh, also one other thing. We're gonna kick it into RGB color because this is for web. We are not making this for print, and I want to make sure that it looks good on your screen at home. It looks good when it hits, Blue Sky and Twitter and whatever, wherever it ends up. I want it to look good. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it as far as all the color scheming going on. This is very, very bare bones because it's like her skin tone, her eyes, her hair, her shirt, background. That's it. It's like 5 colors. White iris is normal for this style of anime. That's very weird to me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do white iris because I want to put shines on the eyes, and I feel like it'll look weird if it's white iris, white shine on the eyes. Like, I feel like it won't work. You think it's just the elves in Dungeon Meshi? Huh. Oh, yeah. Okay. You linked, this. And, like, she has white irises, but, he doesn't. And he's all iris. So maybe it is just the elves. Maybe we should keep it. I don't know. Maybe we should keep it. Stick with it. Considering the fancy upscaling, you thought I'd be in tux? Nah, tux is in the closet. Yeah, yeah. It's going to be my interpretation. So, obviously, the whole point of this. Okay, whenever you work on something that's kind of like this is this like quiet character moment, and uh, you could just put very minimal shading on it and like call it a day, basically. Um, it doesn't have to be impressive. What was the term? I call it uh making a hamburger. It's like there's not a whole lot of differences between hamburgers or pizzas, for example. There's not a whole lot of differences. You know, some pizzas better than others. You want to make the best pizza you can. You want to make the best hamburger you can. But at the end of the day, it's just supposed to like communicate this thing of like her with her hair. A colorist doesn't really get showcased on something like this, but we're gonna try to do something stupid. We're gonna. This is over here is a piece of art from a Fire Emblem album that came out, and it was really striking, and it had this like backlit kind of thing going on, and so I was like, I kind of want to do that. Like, I saw it and I was like, we should just do that for the stream. I also probably should have flattered her comb here, but that's fine. And I was like, we should do something like that, kind of make her glow a little bit. Part of the reason why I was thinking about doing something similar to this was not only because I got kind of inspired by it, but I feel like, so I go deep on like rendering faces sometimes, but I've never colored manga before, ever. Where is my pen? And I feel like the more I render her face, like the weirder and weirder it's gonna look. You know, I feel like it's gonna be a real like less is more situation. But okay. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how everything turns out. I kind of want to make her hair's the focus. I kind of want to make her hair like glowy and otherworldly. So let's paint some clouds before we do anything. Like, I basically want to paint a cloud set that is the width of this entire page, and have the clouds kind of move so that the background doesn't stay static. So it's like the background's going to kind of slowly move as she is doing her hair, kind of thing, like the clouds moving by. That's the idea. So we're just going to paint some clouds first. We're just going to paint a bunch of clouds. And I guess we're going to pull from this side here, but we're going to see how far that lasts. I might get bored of pulling colors. It's kind of hard to understand the tri-dimensional side of manga faces. Yeah. Manga faces are very weird. Also, I've got, you see how like, this is why resolution matters, and resolution for brushes matters as well. Like, it's gigantic over here on the right side, and then over here it's very small. I downloaded a bunch of brushes a while ago, and I haven't really gotten to use them. Some of these seem really cool for clouds. We're gonna see what we can do here. There were like a couple that were in particular. I gotta find them because I haven't like folded them into my workflow yet. Let's see if I can find them. This is from a pack that, oh yeah, this is it. That, somebody had. And it's like touch sensitive, and, you know, we're gonna, kind of do the best we can with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to get a good base going so that we can like iterate on top of it. Um, we'll see. Yeah, so yeah, manga faces, man, they they're weird. They're very weird. Um and I feel like if I start to render them, like really render them, uh it's just going to get weirder and weirder. So we're gonna try to back away from that. So let's just paint some clouds. The cool thing about painting clouds is that since they're organic shapes, you don't need to. There's no like wrong answer. They're all just happy little trees. You know, like the old Bob Ross saying goes, you can just kind of do whatever you like. We have to make them at least as convincing as we can, though. So we might look up a little bit of reference. Um, it's almost like a cat face. Yeah, manga faces being weird makes me wonder how people figure out all those realistic manga races or faces. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's it really depends because like this that we're working on, this is very cartoony manga. In the vein of like Astro Boy and stuff like that. But I feel like, you know, I could paint a little bit more on the faces for like something like Berserk, you know, that's a little more realistic. Um, looks a little more realistic. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's I have some photographs of clouds over here. I'm just gonna try to uh, use them to kind of paint a little bit. Um, see how it goes. uh, Painting clouds is it's fun, kind of because it's also it looks weird when you don't do it right. If that makes any sense at all. Even though there's like no normal shape to them at all. It's just they're just organic weird shapes. It's still kind of, I don't know. You got to get it kind of right. Yeah, yeah. The way you color Vagabond's not the way you color 20th Century Boys. Yeah. Should we color some 20th Century Boys? I do like that artist. The name escapes me offhand. But like, yeah, something like Spy versus Family like looks different than your more realistic mangas. You do better making them clouds off of vibes than anything specific. Yeah, I mean, they are just peak vibes. Oh, and we can just get into some of these RGB colors that I don't normally get to use. Uh, all dang day into these deep reds. I'm like, where do we put this red? Yeah, Urasawa. Yeah. I haven't read Pluto, but a lot of my friends recommend Pluto to me. A lot of my friends love that book. Let's kind of unify this a little bit. Because we kind of want to do this like clouds but wispy. This is getting too busy, by the way. We're losing our forms. Okay, let's slow down and think about form. Pluto anime is coming? Oh man. If only I had time to watch any anime at all. It's weird because I'll eat comic books, but uh, when it comes to anime, it's like I just don't have time. I'm like, oh, anime? I just don't have time. I am a hero too. Yeah. Uh, Alternate between realistic and cartoony based on mood and horror. Yeah, man, that was good. That book was good. No time for anime, all the time for Frasier. Yes, very excited about that. Excited and apprehensive about that Frasier reboot. So while I was sick with a cough, I kind of put together a more formal, like, thing for, uh, like, more, I don't know, constructed, structured. That's the word I'm looking for. Clearly, I need it. Uh, More structured, kind of like this is how you color comics, or at least the way I color comics. Um, so I've been working on that, writing that. I got to do record some voiceovers and stuff for it, so it's not happening anytime soon. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't know. Maybe it's the yellow isn't working for me. Maybe it needs to be warmer. Maybe like that. Makes the yellow kind of work a little bit more. I think it might be too defined. I'm going to close this because I feel like I'm getting influenced by everything going on over here. So we'll just close that. There's Marcel. There she is. Just happy to be participating. Because we also don't want this to distract from Marcel. Like, we don't want to pull focus from the main part here, you know? Man, it's almost like this is too defined. I know that I walked back a lot of the definition, but maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know. Maybe it's about vibes. Maybe it's about vibes. We'll get there eventually. This is my workflow for painting clouds, by the way. It's just we're just gonna mash stuff at the wall until we're happy with it. I know this is probably not the most thrilling. This is like um, difficult stuff to do, but it's not necessarily the most exciting stuff to do. Only thing I'm missing is a Bob Ross narration. You're not wrong. And I gotta get I gotta get a like a a brush and a bucket of paint thinner and just beat the devil out of it. That's what he says. Beat the devil out of it. I think we're getting close. The thing that makes clouds kind of difficult to uh, draw and paint is kind of like Boyd said, they're vibes based, but they're also like they like will have like really defined shapes and then also just kind of disperse into like a vague idea of like what a cloud is. So sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't, and it's just like you just keep working on whatever the heck. Like, you just keep square peg round hole until you got a cloud. I think we're very close to done with our clouds. Maybe lighten it up just a little bit. Maybe we'll put some reds down, some very reds down. I think that kind of gets there. What if we messed with the levels just a tad? I think that's good. Yeah. Part of Bob Ross's appeal is the sounds of the brush strokes constantly. Yeah. Um, Man, love that shit. Okay, so we kind of have some clouds, kind of. I mean, I don't know. I guess we do have some clouds. We're gonna close that, lock it. Let's add in our clouds. So, like I said, we want to work smarter, not harder, right? So, here's our clouds. We're gonna line it up in the corner here for this one. How are we gonna do this? Okay, I figured out how we're gonna do this. We lined it up in the corner for that one, and then we gotta line it up here for this one, and then we're gonna line it up. Wait, no, because it's got to end there. It's got to end here. Which one is the middle one? I think middle of the middle section is the middle one. Does that make my crazy person? This one right here. Oh, good. They're different sizes. Excellent. Great. Okay. So, let's pick one. Okay. Okay. Right. So we want to go from the right side to the middle on the right side. Clouds looks like clouds to you. Nice. Let's. Okay. What did I didn't get anything. How did I not get anything when I copied that? Okay, now I got something. Now we're cooking. All right, so this is the entirety before we hit this middle part. So we want like this middle part and then maybe like a little bit extra for this one. This is a lot of inane copying, pasting. I'm sorry. We're just gonna have to deal with that. It's gonna look bad before it looks good. Oh man, I keep clicking over too. I forget that it's on a level. Or on a layer. On a level? I literally keep clicking. You know what? Just gonna put it over here as we figure this out. All right, let's think for a minute. I was like, oh, I'll just do this and I'll work smarter, not harder. And now it's tricking me. Now I'm being tricked. Okay, that one there, and then let's move it like over a little bit, and then let's move it over a little bit. Maybe like that. And then let's make sure to clear out this middle row. Okay, let's lock this middle row in. This is, or the right row. Right row of clouds, locked in. No panic. Panic! Okay, let's chuck these old clouds. Okay. Now we're gonna go middle to right, so we're gonna grab like the middle of this thing, I guess. Let's pick like this. This. That makes sense. Okay. All right. Middle row, done. Okay, now let's do the row on the right. So we need the row on the left. I know my left from my right. Oh shoot, I screwed it up. It's screwed up here. Maybe we can fix that. Like here. That looks good. Okay. And then we'll kind of follow this little like notch right there. We gotta put it underneath everything. There we go. We're gonna follow this little notch because it's like on the left side. Now it's kind of more in the middle. Now we're very much on the right, and now the notch is gone. Okay. I think that's it for the clouds. Let's just flatten that entire thing. Nothing looks too terrible. Let's mask it off. There we go. Okay. We got our background. We can close this. No. We already have... Oh, I guess I didn't do her like, choker is like red. Maybe we'll make her choker red and her, oh, I'm in the wrong house. Make her choker red. We'll make her brush red as well, because I totally blanked on that. And it's nice to have as few colors as possible. It's like one less color to juggle. Don't really need to do anything there or there or there. Maybe we'll colorize the bow. I don't know. We'll figure it out a little bit here. Okay. Let's wash this in a blue. We're going to warm up her hair. Warm up her skin just a touch. A lot of that's going to come through in the when we start to render. a lot of these colors are going to start to make a little more sense. Hopefully. But we're getting close. We're getting close. Man, could we even go bluer? We can go like really blue. Because that background's like a lot. That background is a lot. We can like really amp that blue. Okay, we're getting there. And like, okay, this was my problem with this piece, right? So we've gotten to here. And this looks great. I love it. From here, it's all going to be just little nuanced things. Like, we're just going to be picking at this thing until it's done. And my worry was that maybe that's not good. Twitch.tv/Nickfil. It's not flashy. It's not crazy. I don't think we need Marcel anymore. I think we got a pretty good handle on this. So we're just going to... What is this? Oh, this is the old one. Okay. All right. Let's just get in here. Excuse me. I suppose since the clouds aren't a separate layer, we're just going to lock that layer so that we don't accidentally color on the clouds. And then we're just going to get in here and just start cutting out the highlights of where I want the highlights. So, okay, we have to think about this. Because we want to kind of silhouette her. Like, she's going to be backlit. But we don't want her entirely backlit because I want to highlight the hair. So I want to kind of have like from behind but up a little bit, I think that's what I want, so that we get like a little bit of gold kind of like shimmer on the hair. And here's the thing, whenever I color anything that has like two different kind of light sources, because she's gonna have her own light source, and then we're gonna kind of like silhouette her in this like gold kind of thing, this like brilliant, like bright kind of gold. So what I'm going to do is basically just ignore the gold. Like, be like, we're painting it in at the end, you know. For now, we're just trying to get a good shadow down. And it's going to be a little less dramatic than the gold stuff. The gold stuff's going to be really dramatic. But, like, for now, we just want things to, like, kind of just work. It's going to be a little, like... Whenever I do shadows, I do them at like 70% is where I start. Like, I put down a dark color, multiply it, put down like 70%. But I think we're going to do like 30 or 40% because I want it to be a little more subtle. So let's just get in here. And okay, so here's the thing. Is like, we have our anime face here, and I feel like it's going to be less is more. Maybe. And yet, here I am, working on it. We'll see. We'll see if less is more. This is the other thing is like, so I was thinking when I picked this piece, so I really like Delicious in Dungeon. Obviously, I'm excited about it getting an anime. However, now we're just rendering Marcel's face like basically over and over and over again. We're going to do it 9 times. 9 times. Uh, and I don't know that that's a very interesting thing. Um, this was my other apprehension with this piece, uh, but I like Marcel, and I like her character, and I want to do this. So y'all are just gonna have to strap in while we um, basically do the same thing 9 times. It's a very charming sequence. It is. Um, it's such a great little character moment too. Like her doing her braids. Uh, it's just like a really, it's just endearing. It's just really sweet. Um, quiet moments amongst the dungeon chaos. Uh, it's great. Great to see doing repetitive sequence a thing. Yeah, yeah. Man, so much of comics in general, I feel like is we're gonna just do this repetitive thing over and over again. I was reading a book that a friend of mine was like, "Hey, that book's actually not that good. Please don't read it." But I've started it. I haven't passed a judgment on it yet. Barry Windsor Smith's Monsters. Apparently, he spent something like 40 years making that book. Uh, and I like Weapon X. Weapon X is maybe the best thing Marvel's ever put out, and I like Barry Windsor Smith's stuff. So I was like, I want to see if this is good. Um, at any rate, my point was, this is a between chapters page. Yeah, yeah. Small moment while you dive back into the story. Uh, so my point is that I'm reading this book, and it's Barry Windsor Smith, so he's like, drawing the hell out of it. But there are just page after page of like just people talking in a kitchen. This is the thing that stops me from making my own comics, outside of coloring, like drawing my own stuff, is that occasionally you need a sequence of someone just having a conversation in a kitchen, and to draw that entire conversation, you have to draw them in the kitchen, and it's like, strap in because I'm gonna draw them in the kitchen. When I was reading this book, it's like these two characters in a kitchen for like 8 pages. You just live there. You just live there. Just make it a battle kitchen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good point. Good point. So it's like, oh, everybody wants to draw the Wolverine popping claws and eating sentinels, and is that something that Wolverine does? And kissing ladies, and then kissing malt liquor. Everybody wants that, but like sometimes Wolverine has to have a conversation. That sucks. Sometimes the story has to move forward. What a drag. That's why the 90s got it right. Pinups every page. Let's do this thing. By the way, haven't done one of these in a while. So if you are returning to see me color, welcome back. Uh, I've started to, like I said before, about this one, about this particular book, Dungeon Meshi, aka Delicious in Dungeon. I've started. I recommend this thing constantly on my podcast. You should check it out. World's Second Finest. We do. It's every other week. Me and a buddy of mine, actually the guy who got me into comics, Jason Thielbar. We co-host, and We read Bat books from not the 90s, like 1995 is where we're at. We're at the tail end of 1995 right now. Kelly Jones is drawing Batman, um, and Chuck Dixon, Alan Grant, and who's the one on? Oh, Doug Munch are writing it. Uh, we're very close to when I started picking up Batman monthly as a kid, so I'm very excited about that. But when we're not talking about that, we talk about that every other week, and on the off weeks, we just talk about our to read pile of like whatever else we're reading. You know, just book recommendations. You want to get into comics? Like, here's Jason and I just recommending something to two books at least to you every other week. Um, some really great books in there. I started just recently uh, putting my money where my mouth is and taking Jason up on some of his recommendations, his book recommendations. So I'm stoked on that. Every time you see covers of major characters, you wonder what it's like to actually have to do one. Wonder, is it even possible to draw them in a new pose? Man, so, whew, mom's turn. Yeah, uh, my buddy Andy McDonald, he drew this huge multiple man thing. Everybody should check out his work. If you like hyper detailed work, Andy McDonald, man, you can't get better than that. He he's doing some Marvel stuff, and he was like, he said to me something like, "You always try to like reinvent the wheel, you know? Like you always try to do like the new cool thing with the character or whatever. Like you try to like dis- distinguish yourself in some capacity." Um, and he was like, "You know what? Sometimes the old stuff's the best. Sometimes you just want Wolverine popping his claws like he has 100,000 times before because it just works. Like you want to reinvent the wheel, but sometimes it's like, you know what? Like I was saying in the beginning of the stream, sometimes you just need a hamburger. Sometimes you just want a fast food hamburger, and that's Wolverine popping his claws, talking about bubs, I think. I've never read a Wolverine book. Having his mask look like two Batmen who are kissing. You know? Typical Wolverine stuff. Anybody who hasn't seen that doesn't know what I'm talking about right now. Sound like a crazy person. Wolverine's mask looks like two Batmen in profile kissing each other. It's weird. Oh, you loved Monster. I'm gonna catch up on chat. Give me a second. Every single story already told, every music composed. You know, I have some thoughts on that in a second. In a second. Once we kind of make sense of what's happening with our knuckles over here. Maybe nothing is happening. Maybe we'll just you love Monster. Best, you think it's the best the last comic thing he'll do based on interviews. He doesn't like making them anyway. Yeah. I know that when he did Barry Windsor Smith did a Machine Man comic, and he had help on it because he hadn't done comics in a while, and he was like nervous about making comic books again. Like he was like, I don't know if I know how to do it. And he actually had somebody doing layouts for that first issue. And then he was like, all right, I got it, and just like powered back in and made some comic books. But man, comics are tough, grueling, long work, and you gotta want it. You gotta really, really want it. It does not surprise me, especially because Barry Windsor Smith's definitely getting older. So like, yeah, him not really making a whole lot of more comics. I get it. And that's why in this comic, Wolverine cooks hot dogs on his claws over a grill. Being passed a note that he already does this. Yeah, yeah. Hey, there's all these names in comics, especially the older books, where I'm like, I've seen this name a million times. I don't know how to say this name. I don't even think I've slowed down to process how it's even pronounced. In my brain, I just was like, that guy. Herb is one of those guys. Herg, Tripe. God, I don't know. This is Fire Emblem all over again with every name. I'm just struggling. By the way, we did a Fire Emblem stream before my cough like escalated. The E is silent. Herb train is the P silent? I need more of it to be silent. Uh, too dumb to read. All right. At any rate, what was I saying? Oh, everything's been done before. I used to think that. I think I've said on this stream before that like when I got out of art school, I was definitely like everything. If I'm not making Watchmen, then what's the point of making comics? And I was definitely like in that mentality, and then I was also in that mentality of like everything's been done before. I have no new original ideas. But what I didn't realize was that I was coming up with original ideas that uh, had not necessarily been done before, and I just assumed that everybody else has had these same ideas. That like I wasn't special, you know. That like the ideas that I came up with were just things that rattle around in everybody's head. And what took me a really long time to figure out is that that is not true. That like a lot of people uh, will have really terrible ideas. Actually, not that mine were good; they might be terrible too. And then there's this other thing that happens where like the execution of the idea actually becomes more important than the idea itself. Where like once you get into like the details of something and you start to like really work on it, should we make her we should make her breakdance Dracula instant classic. He can breakdance in midair. It's unbeatable. But it's like, okay, like you brought up breakdance Dracula, which has been an idea of mine, right? But did you think that maybe breakdance Dracula should be breakdancing and then turn into a cloud of bats that are also breakdancing? Because that's a real original idea that I had. And is it good? Who knows? is is it a thing that my brain came up with? Yes. Yes it is. But like somebody else could make breakdance Dracula. Not that they should, not that they should, but like somebody else could, and then uh, never have that same idea about breakdance Dracula. You know, it could have like a totally different breakdance Dracula, totally different tone. You know, so like that's what I mean by like when you break it down, it's like, oh, here, hero's journey again. That's what we're doing again. Okay, but like in reality, it's the details of the hero's journey, not the It's not like I don't know. Like if we live in that mentality of like everything's been done before, then we're just gonna be like, well, the fuck am I doing if I'm not writing the Iliad? You know, better to just like make what you want to make. I feel like we're gonna be noodling on the hair a lot. I feel like that's where we're gonna be spending a lot of time. Uh, yeah, that thought in third grade when the teacher read us a book that was written and illustrated by a kid same age as us, and I was not inspired like she hoped you'd be. You're like, no, it's been done by someone my age. I'm too late. Third grade is a tough beat to be like, why even try? Why even try? That's a that's a hard knock life. Finally grew up and realized that everything had been done thousands of times over, and heck yeah, you can do it on your own. And yeah, like Shannon and I are watching. She's watching for the first time. I'm watching for the first time all the way through because I ducked out really late in the seasons. Um, but we're watching Supernatural currently, and like those episodes are so good. They're so good. It's like solid television of, we're gonna give you a monster. There's gonna be a twist in the third act, that's gonna propel you to the climax. There's like all these moments that are structurally the kind of the same per episode, but like, and you know, the whole two guys on the road, they have no home, like, and they uh, hunt things. It's like, okay, well, the A Team's been done. Route 66 has been done. Like, these things in television have been done. Like, Supernatural in general is not a wholly unique thing. And then not only that, but they're using a lot of people from the production of X Files. So a lot of it has that vibe in it too. And it's like yeah, it might not be the most unique original thing, but eventually, given enough time, it becomes its own thing. Sam and Dean become their own characters, unique to their voice. And the reason for that is because you have like a team of writers writing this thing, and they put the hours in, and they like put themselves in it, and they put like a mishmash of like a bunch of other stuff, and like, all their influences and things like that, and it like it matters is what I'm saying. And it like the execution comes off in the end like, yeah, like this is now an original thing. I guarantee that even if you set off to do like say you did gosh, how come I can only think of Charles Vest comics right now? Or sorry, like say you set out to do something that demon from hell comes back to the land of the living, has pancakes or I don't know, whatever, and then decides he's not going to usher in the apocalypse. Like, that's Hellboy. But I guarantee that if you were like, okay, now I got to write 3 arcs of what I think Hellboy is, without like, with only kind of watching the movies a little bit, and then being like, well, what if I make him like this? Well, what if I challenge him like this? Like, what if he doesn't think that the apocalypse is great because of this? Like, it'll turn into its own thing. Now, is it too close to Hellboy? I don't know. Will it need to be refined? Probably. but it's still like, you know, you can't help but put your own stamp on it. Influence, knowledge, execution, having a style. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, right? Walking Dead. We're going to make a zombie thing. Great. Good luck to you. But then it's like, well, it's not actually about zombies. It's actually about Rick and his relationship with his family in this crisis, and uh, it's about Coral. Coral. That was my best Rick Grimes. It wasn't very good. Coral. Coral. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, if I set out to do a zombie book, it probably wouldn't be The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead probably influenced it a little bit, but it's like at the end of the day, I still have to make characters. I can't just use Carl as much as I want to. Last of Us 2, yeah, yeah, yeah. Last of Us isn't even the first, like, idea of, like, zombies, but they're plants. Like, that has been done before. Last of Us still executed really well, though. Wasn't about the apocalypse, it was about living in it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like the apocalypse already happened. It's in the past. uh Year before that show, you never would have expected it to be like the biggest in the world for Walking Dead. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you just never know with these things. And you never know what it's going to look like at the end. It's true of anything too. Like when I color a page, I've colored so many pages by now that I've usually have a pretty good idea of what it's going to look like at the end, but there's still happy accidents in there. See, this is what I'm talking about with rendering faces, anime faces. I'm like, I want to get in here and like really start to render, but I don't think I can. I think it'll look weird. So I decided on this manga because I really like it, but I think I'm gonna color some more manga. There's like an online community. Um, you never know what's gonna resonate with folks. Every major shonen book has a variation of a character with a rock paper scissors power. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I kind of want to try coloring some more manga other than this because there's kind of a community of manga colorists. Some of which are really great, some of which are very amateur. Um, but it's largely kids like having a good time with color, and like I think that is amazing. I'm like, hell yes, let me into that community. Plus, if I got to color some manga professionally, that'd be very fun. I'd be very into that. Gotta learn Japanese. There's not really a whole call for coloring manga in general. Like, it's not really a thing. Um, because most of the books are in black and white, but occasionally you get pages of color, and you also get covers in color. And I don't know, do manga artists like color that themselves? I don't even know. Colorized manga is often a special release. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When they like colorize the whole thing, right? It's kind of what they did with Bone. It was like came out in black and white originally. Um, and then demand was so high, they were like, let's do a color version. Most of the time, it is the author doing the color. I can tell because some of that color is not super inspired. You can tell that it's like somebody who's competent at color but not great at color, or at least I can tell. Where it's like, oh, this is functional, doesn't look bad, but like we could make something look good. We could make something look good. Get a little character in there. I say that well before we're done with this thing, so who knows how this is going to turn out. I'm throwing shade at manga artists, manga colorists, while I haven't even finished my first one. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Hopefully, we're going to do some more comic book coloring soon. I actually have been thinking about making some stickers lately, and I don't know if you do. You all want to watch me make stickers? Like, do some drawing? I can never tell. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about the stream, is like, I see the numbers on YouTube especially. And I know y'all like want to watch me color. Like that's the main thing. And you know, it makes sense. It's what I'm known for. Uh so whenever I do like a drawing stream or game streams or whatever, they always get like less people in there. And part of me is like, heck it, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. It's my stream. And but another part of me is like, well, you know, it's nice to build community and give people what they want, and like this is kind of what I do. Um, oh wow, okay. So okay, Dioutra, something funny just happened when you wrote that. Twitch flagged it and I had to like manually be like, this message is okay. And the reason for that is because you wrote usually these colored, which out of context, three words that Twitch is like, maybe slow your roll there, buddy. They don't realize that we're doing comic book coloring in this automated world. Man, I mentioned this in the pod too, but I my channel got temporarily pulled on YouTube, and I think it was because in the one of the two read piles in the podcast, I brought up Maddie made a like LGBTQ creators in DC Comics, like, let's round up their work so you can read them for Pride Month, you know? So they put that list together, and I talked about it. And it wasn't even like I was like, Oh, like let's push the gay agenda, whatever that means. Like I wasn't even like that. I was just like, hey, this list exists and it's pretty cool. Check it out. And that was it. And I feel like the reason my channel got pulled for a hot minute is because a bunch of conservatives were like, this guy said gay people exist, and then they just started like being like reporting the channel basically. And then I was like, I clicked the button to fight it, and they were like, oh yeah, your channel's fine. So I don't know. It was very weird. Um, when you search for color and comics gigs on Twitter, you often see colorists use it something negative, and I'm like, no, I'm just looking for a job. Yeah, uh, that happened to Marissa on Twitter a while back. She like described herself as a colorist, and somebody was like, the fuck do you say? And she was like, no, it's not a. We're not talking about race. We're just talking about comic books. It's a literal job. You color in the lines. I'm a color technician. That's what it is. A color artist. We're getting close to the end. Well, close to putting a shadow down and then refining from there. That's the workflow. Put a shadow down, see how it is, work from there. That's new to you, hearing that people are like, colorist? It's a weird term, to be fair, if you're not familiar with the industry. And I can see how people would be like, is this a race thing? And it's like, no, it's not. I'm getting a little looser because I'm like, we're gonna refine this anyway. I'm like, let's just pick up the pace. Let's just get going. All these like long pencil strokes too with the lasso, kind of weird. They're a little wobbly. All right. Let's see where we landed. Let's take like a. We can take like a red. So okay, here's the. We could go blue. We could go. Whenever I pick a shadow, I'm like, do we do a dark warm color? Do we do a dark cool color? The color theory says that if you're hit with a cool color, a cool light source, you'll have a warm shadow. They work opposite. So I guess we'd want to do like a warm shadow. So let's see how this works. Like I said, very minimal. We did 41% there. Let's kind of tweak what we're working with here. Just red it up a little bit. We can red up the skin tone too a little bit to make it read as warm. We could lighten the shirt just a touch. Okay. From here, I say we start figuring this out. My thought was to, like I said before, kind of like make her hair a little more golden on top than it is in the bottom, like a little darker on the bottom, because she's in like this kind of like low light environment. So I'm just going to throw some grads through here. We can push it into some blue, and red a little bit, just to kind of see how we're doing. Skin tone reads a little bit too blue. I think it's a little better. Let's do this like shadow. Let's up the saturation on that shadow. Okay, we're getting there. One of the things that I do when I'm working is so I'll throw a grad through something just to give it a little more depth. So we have like a shadow, hard light source, a cell shaded kind of thing. Shadow, highlight, done. I'll go in and kind of like add a gradient of color from the shadow, from like the darkest part of her, just to give her like a little bit more depth. We'll do like a little bit in the armpit there, and then we'll build on that as well. I'm like, why is it taking so long to click and drag this? It's because it's 30%. All right, let's do some tweaks to the sunrise. So like I said, I wanted to mimic that Fire Emblem album cover, so we're going to... Oh, we should... Let's just duplicate the layer. Chuck this one. Delete everything in here. Unlock it. Delete everything. Oh, did we just delete the layer? Can we not just clear it? Oh, we did clear it. Duh. It's a duplicate. No wonder. So we want to do almost white. I mean, maybe we should even just, let's change the brush. That's not the right brush. We want to give her that glow in the mornings when somebody's backlit like this. So we're just kind of adding in a little bit of, just a little bit of pop. We could even... I don't know if that's going to work. Maybe if we set it to screen. Maybe that'll work. I don't want to drown out the color with white. I would rather it be colorful than white. So I don't know. Maybe we'll keep it as is. We're gonna add some like stray hairs and stuff that are gonna be kind of like catching the light kind of thing. It'll look good at the end. Not that it doesn't look good now. It's like kind of shaping up. Thank you so much, Diatra. Yeah, just giving it a little character, giving it a little vibe. We could even colorize some of the line art too. I planned on kind of doing that. So the reason this works is because we're getting that backlight, and then it's basically putting her entirely in shadow. I know we do have like a light source, and like, or we did do light. She has a light side and a dark side to like her face and her outfit and her hair and stuff like that, but that stuff is very much turned down compared to everything else that's going on the page. So it feels blue, feels cool compared to the rest of it. And that's kind of why that works. All right, we're going to lock that. Those are the vibes. We're going to keep them locked. Now let's get in here and do some refining. So as the hair gets lower on her, top should be the high highlights, but we're going to do some other highlights within the hair because it has like a lot of shape to it, and the hair is the focus. Like if we don't make the hair look good, then like what are we doing here? Like come on. So that's what we're working on right now. Just go in every panel and do the thing. The highest amount of detail should be on the left here. Thank you for the input, Fake McCoy. How's it going? We're doing comic book coloring again. I know that you were not into hanging out for the games, the video games. We're back to coloring. You're welcome. This is a weird kind of shot. I don't know how to do this. I'm in here and I keep making marks and I don't know exactly what I should be doing. Should back it up. You're here to say nothing useful. Ban that bot. Good to see you. Good to see you in the Discord too, dude. I was actually just thinking about that the other day. I was like, oh, it's nice that Fake McCoy's in the Discord, and I chat with him somewhere regularly. I'm bad at keeping up with friends, unless I see them in a regular manner. You think that was a legit opportunity from that bot? Should have went for it. Next bot. It reminds me of I saw like a clickbait thing where this guy was like, what did he say? He was like, I said yes to every single Instagram ad that came my way. Like I bought every single product, and he was like, here they all are, and it was just like a pile of garbage. Reminds me of that. I'm doing first Comic-Con since COVID this September. If you're in the Asheville area, I will be at gosh, what is it called? I think it's called like Beer City Comic-Con. The owner was kind of weird. Not weird, but like he's very excited about it. It's his first comic convention. He usually puts on beer conventions. And I think he's like really excited to have this like meeting of the minds happen where he's gonna do like Beer City Comic Con. Yeah, great con name. That's Asheville, North Carolina's Beer City is the nickname. So I think he wants like a meeting of the minds, and where he like gets people on panels and like everybody's learning and we're all like growing and loving comics and stuff like that, you know, which is great. But I'm also just like, I'm on a panel with Rico, like I don't know. I've been on panels with Rico before. Like this isn't exceptionally revolutionary. But it's fine. It's good. I'm just like, I don't know what Not Patchouli Oil City. No, you're thinking of somewhere else. I'm just like, I don't know what you want from me specific, like what kind of like nugget of wisdom you want me to like specifically say. And then I sign a contract to be there, and I've never done that before. Like usually it's very informal. Usually it's like, "Hey, can I come to your show?" And they'll be like, "Yes" or "No." And then that'll be it. And then I show up, and then they're like, "Here's the table." And then they mutter under their breath something. Usually, I prefer to think probably a compliment, right? Probably. Oh, you know what we didn't do is preserve the flats. Usually I do all that. Huh. I wonder if I can. Let me do a quick save as. You have a reputation, can't be trusted. Need to sign papers. Yeah. Uh, Here, I'm gonna do a quick save as while you guys are not looking, so you don't see what else I'm working on. And then I'm gonna pull up the flats. Give me 2 seconds. Adobe Illustrator. Things are going bad. Don't look at me. Run diagnostics? Oh my gosh. Why is this set to open with... I'm gonna kick this thing's ass. Photoshop documents. Open with Photoshop. Please. Open with... Come on. This is weird. Always open. What the hell? Okay. I think I figured it out. Nope. Illustrator still wants to open. Illustrator has tried to open 4 times now. It's only getting better over here. We should save the work. Okay, we did save the work successfully. Okay. This is the first time I'm using... Yes, today was the first day I've used Adobe. It's not that the program has any quirks in it at all. No. It's a completely normal professional program that functions as intended. Just working as intended. Okay. Let's grab all the hair. Let's take an orange. Let's max it out into the realm of the unknown. Set it to screen. My problem is that so bridge will kind of like Adobe's just making solid products is what they're doing. Did I crap out? Am I streaming? Should be green. You there? Back. Okay, I'm back. Weird. Yeah, I saw some frames drop. I don't know what that is. Huh. Weird. Um, all we know is that Twitch makes great products and Adobe makes great products, and they're both just perfect products. Weird. So we are going to use this brush rather than the fat brush because we're trying to do some like detail work in here. Yeah, probably just a few drop packets. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if this is good. I don't know if you guys can tell. Hair is kind of a struggle for me. So it's kind of why I wanted to do this. To just like get some practice. Maybe beyond the first like top shrine, like maybe we just don't need to do anymore. Or maybe I should just follow the lead of like what we did on the top of her head, like all over. Put this like really shiny bit through. I mean, we could. Top highlight was already enough. Yeah, maybe. Um, I just wanted to make it like the hair is the focus. So I wanted to make sure that we've exhausted everything as far as like working on the hair goes, you know? Like everything is all good. Why don't we try here? I'm going to pull this. We're going to work over the line art. We're going to give her some like stray hairs. Just kind of using my judgment on it. I mean, like, this is some real refined shit. So, like, maybe we should work on the rest of it first. Uh, I mean, it doesn't need a whole lot, to be completely honest. Like, there's a couple things I want to do that I think are going to have a pretty large impact, but we might be able to get away with some like basic cell shading because it's anime. Um, I feel like that brush is like too rough. Maybe this is too bright. I don't know. I'm figuring it out. the danger in this piece is like overworking it, which I feel like it feels like that's kind of happening despite my best intentions. Um, let's make sure we're done with the hair before we start like moving on to other parts. Let's just systematically get this thing done. That's what I was thinking. Super render the hair, keep everything else two toned. Because it's what it's about. I'm working on a Strange New Worlds book that just got announced today. Same team as make it all checkerboards, two tone ska. Ska's back, baby. um, I just started working on a Strange New Worlds book. It just got announced. I'm very excited about it. Star Trek. Same team as did the that did the Deep Space Nine book. Same art team. I'm not sure who's writing it actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. Uh, but I'm very excited about it. The reason I was thinking about it just now is because I am doing a lot of heavy rendering on it. A lot of like sitting there very patiently with faces and things like that, and like getting it done. Trying to render out my best Rebecca Romaine because the artist does really great with likenesses, and I don't want to hinder him. Angel uh, Hernandez, I believe. Um, really great with likenesses, and I'm like okay, let's not screw that up. Um, and then when it gels, when it like comes together, I'm like, oh yeah, perfect. Uh, there's a couple times where like I was working on like Uhura or something like that, and it just like really came together. Just got really lost in the rendering. That's the stuff, man. When you can start to like really lose yourself in the rendering of something, um, that's when you're like in the sweet spot for coloring. So should this be going around this way? They kind of like gestured her hair in, but not really. Bringing an interesting synergy to the pencils. Thanks. Yeah, trying to, man. Let's take this like gold color. It's not even really gold. the wild thing is it looks very saturated because in comparison to all the other blues and everything, it's very very bright. Um, have you ever read any of the Trek books? Yes. I read a ton of Trek to get started with Deep Space Nine. I actually, when we started that book, I hadn't watched any or I watched like a little bit of Deep Space Nine, but I hadn't really dove in, and because of that book, I finished watching Deep Space Nine, and in my due diligence, whenever I do a new book, um, if the artist has been around for a while, or uh, you know, um, the property's been around for a while, I'll look everything up because I want to see how people previously colored this person, see if there's any like kind of like pitfalls that I can avoid, or whatever, you know. Uh, and so I read a lot of the Star Trek books. Some are really good. Yeah, field research. Some are really good. Most are kind of not great. I didn't bother with some of the stuff that like Marvel did back in the 70s and 80s. Well, I guess 80s. Uh, wasn't quite as good, really. Um, or it just like wasn't relevant to me working on Trek books because it was so old. Uh, but I like to think, and this is not me. This is not me being cocky or whatever. Like when I started doing Trek stuff, I was like, Trek really hasn't had they've had some good comics, but not great comics. And my goal was to be like, okay, like let's smoke this shit. Like let's make the definitive Star Trek comic book. So, if you are a Deep Space Nine fan, I would highly recommend you check out the Deep Space Nine book. No 60s gold key? No, 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 no. No, no, no. That's too you're too deep. You're too deep. um and like I don't want to, badmouth any other creators or anything, but like everybody's on a journey with all their work, but I never found any of the Trek books to be uh, really great outside of a uh, handful of books. I thought that Megan Levins does some Trek stuff that I really enjoy. Um, but the goal of like I put a lot of time, energy, and effort into Deep Space Nine and Strange New Worlds, and really like I really sat down and cared about like, is this accurate to the set? Is this you know did I get the look of everything correct? Does it feel right? Because there's like, because it's a print medium and not a video medium, there's things that work on the screen that don't translate well to comics. So like it's about seeing it, understanding the vibe, and then translating that. And so I tried to do the best I could. And the goal of mine when I started was like, let's make the best fucking Trek comics ever. You know? Like let's just blow the doors off it. It's been this property that has kind of existed in comics but hasn't really taken off. And so this is my best effort to do those things. Um, so I guess this is a roundabout way of me just recommending my own books, which, you know, if you're in a comic shop, flip through it. Fake McCoy, you ever in a comic shop? I think you are sometimes. The Deep Space Nine book just ended, so if you're into trades, if you want trade weight, that should be coming soon. Yeah, totally. One of the great things about the Strange New World book is that it's we're in like far space, and there's all these aliens that don't necessarily exist in the Trek lore. So we're making a bunch of stuff that is like new to Trek, which has been great. And the other thing that I really liked is when I was doing the handful of Star Wars stuff that I did. Um, Working on an IP is always a really harrowing thing because you don't know if you're going to get like noted to death, basically. Um, you just don't. Like anything can happen, basically. So like when I worked on Star Wars stuff, oh my gosh, it's like Note City. They just they can't just leave anything alone on it. Um, and Working on Trek, they had some notes for me in the beginning, and I think that was when I was kind of the least settled into the book. You know, I was like just still trying things and figuring out like how to get, like the what is it called? Not pavilion. What's the main area in Deep Space Nine? Promenade. The promenade. When so it's like, okay, how do I get the promenade to like look right? And I'm working off of like, SD, because Deep Space Nine was never in high resolution. These SD shots of these gray sets, and when I took the gig initially, the editor Heather Antos, to her credit, so she was like, "Do you want to do this?" And I said, I was like, "Yes, but I have some questions," and she was like, "Shoot." And I was like, "Am I going to be locked into these like gray and beige sets that were like common for DS9 and work well for the show, but like I was like, how much like latitude am I going to have here, um and she was like, look, she's like, there's a lot of like Trek books that came before, don't worry about them, like we're doing a new thing, and like I want you to make it as colorful as you want. So that's what convinced me to take the books in the first place, because she was like, I have faith in you to make it work, and like inject color wherever you can to make it engaging. And so that's what I did. Tried to make it as engaging as possible. um yeah, everyone should check out that DS9 comic. And you kind of got to be a DS9 fan to really get everything out of it, because they are established characters and the whole thing takes place um, like in season 6 somewhere, is what the writer said. I imagine it's exhausting on Strange New Worlds or Star Wars. They want to have approval seal on every aspect. Yes, that is the Star Wars thing. um, do you have any brief talk on the creative team? I didn't have any input on the creative team. Like Heather was like, "Here's what we're doing. Do you want to get on board?" And I was like, "Yes." We're adding some highlights here and there. It also, the whole experience kind of solidified me as a Trekkie. I was like, I had watched like many people my age, I'd watched Next Generation growing up. Never really totally clicked with Trek. It was always like too heady for me. Um, when I was a kid, I got some ADD going on, and Trek is not great for that. But man, now I am all in on Trek. Like it is so much fun, so good. We're adding some stray hairs that are hanging out in the breeze. Yeah, yeah, finally clicked. Yeah. I think so like I watched um uh was next gen on my own and enjoyed it and I was like, "Oh, I should jump into Deep Space 9." And this is when I watched some of Deep Space 9 and I was put off by the fact it wasn't in HD. You're on such a Trek kick. You're enjoying Voyager now. I haven't watched Voyager yet. I downloaded the first season because I was like, heck yes. Even though I have a Paramount Plus account, I'm like, I might want to save these. Uh, but I was like, it was jarring to go from Next Gen, which was an HD, to DS9, which is an SD. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just tough this out. And then it became like something I just like didn't want to tough out anymore. Um, and then I started watching it again when I got the book, and I was like, oh man, I'm so glad I started watching this again. It's just so strong. It's just so good. Um, Sometimes takes a while to get going, but by the time you like leave on the last couple seasons, you're like totally hooked. And Strange New Worlds is so good. It's such a good show from the get go. It's modern Trek, so you know people have opinions, but man, yeah, so good. The SD annoys you for 45 seconds at the beginning of every episode. Yeah, and then you're used to it. Voyager DS9 in the same way. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I could have just very easily just watched a little bit of DS9, taken some screenshots, and like moved on. And I did not. I like went whole ham on it, like just eating it up. Same with Strange New Worlds. I started watching Lower Decks, and like just binged all the seasons like so fast. Um, just really absolutely great stuff. Okay, let's do some grads through the skin tones, pop the eyes a little bit, um, add some like shines and stuff. Let's grab this green, just set it to screen. Try to get a uh, good color in here. Give her those anime eyes that we all know and love. Um, it looks a little weird because it's in shadow, so we're gonna do like 50%. let's grab all the skin tone. We're just going to throw some grads through. Just kind of like soften it up in places. Not really thinking too hard about it. Just, you know. All your skin tones belong to us. We just want a whisper. We're gonna actually deselect this stuff. We're almost done. We're getting there. Just adding some little details. So, that Fire Emblem stream that I did a couple of weeks ago before I was out with a cough. Turns out, so the stream ended very abruptly, and turned out my power went out because we were having a bunch of rain and wind, and in doing that, everything crashed. Like everything. The computer crashed. Well, the computer didn't crash. The computer was still up. But my Mister powered down, which means that I did not save the game. So I am. I kind of have to go in there and, I guess, redo everything. So I think it's going to be basically the same stream. When I get around to doing that again. A replay. Yeah, exactly. Nothing got saved. Everything's gone. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. We just gotta play the first couple levels again. And you know what? I coughed through that thing anyway. So it's kind of nice to be able to be like, you know what? Maybe we don't have this stream where I just cough constantly. Maybe we're not going to do that. Yeah, that was your feeling when you had to redo some work. Yeah, it's like, well, all right, let's do it a little better. We already got a little bit under our belt, so yeah, it's not a big deal. Just annoying to like lose a stream. Okay. There's a couple things that I want to do. Let's add a yellow highlight. The kind of the same color as her hair. as like a highlight on the eye. I don't know if we're going to keep that. Should be toned down maybe just a little. If we grab like something like that. Whoa. Yeah, maybe. This is just the idea that, like, you know, it's so sunny and sunsetty around her that the eyes are picking up just like a little bit of the color and reflecting it, kind of thing. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to do. Oh, there's a couple things. We could do some like very subtle stuff in here. Like if we really, this is okay. This is the thing. We're really getting into the weeds with this one. So like we have this shape here, and she is pulling her hair forward, right? So um, we can push the far side of her face and body back a little bit here by just like putting like a screen and just like pushing it back like that. Maybe not quite that dramatic. Yeah, there we go. Uh, and we can even kind of like lighten it up in her hair as well. Give her like just like a little bit of a glow. Um, we do the same thing with her hands here in the front. Oh gosh, this is a complicated shape, but we can probably do it, right? This is a really complicated shape, but we're gonna try it. We're gonna try to get in here. And then just kind of over the shoulder. Oh, we can. How about this? Oh, that's not part of her hand. Okay. I was like, that looks weird. Why does that look weird? Oh, it's because it looks weird. Um, we're gonna use a mask to just tweak this a tiny bit off of her finger there. Okay. I'm just basically like looking for depth to add to this piece wherever I can find it. Looking for love wherever I can find it. Color hope moments are always magical. Yeah, because they're right at the end. So it's like, oh, it's coming together. We're gonna warm up the liner as well because it's looking a little gray, a little on the gray side. And like clearly I'm not being very careful with this. I'm like just kind of eyeballing things. I think it's probably fine. Like I don't know if you guys noticed, but I don't zoom in a ton, and the reason for that is because largely it doesn't freaking matter because you're when you finally view this, it's going to be like this size. So getting in like this close and getting all the pixels perfect like doesn't really matter that much. Um, yeah, so I use a mix 0, 80, 80, 100 for black for where I need to like warm up the spots, and it just basically puts like a little red underneath. Um, like you could see it in this. Uh, so like this is warm, but we can make it like a little more red, just a touch. It you notice it less on um, RGB. RGB will soak the color a little more. CMYK, you have to do this for CMYK. Okay, I want to try one thing. Your color like Pro Inkers on digital. The Inker does for another reason. The approach is the same. Yeah. Where you like, you don't kind of zoom in all the way. Like you just kind of like, yeah. Because it's like, you don't want to get. This is the thing. Is like you can get trapped. Um, Putting in a bunch of color that like, or like spending a lot of time doing something that like has no payoff because the zoom is so small. It drives me fucking nuts when fans will take uh, a page or a panel that they're like I liked when Robin high fived Batman, and then they're like they take a panel where he's supposed to be like an inch tall on a page, um, and then it's like it's blown up so they can see the high five, and they post it on Twitter, and I'm like, this is not an accurate representation of how this panel is supposed to look. But I am glad that you are enthusiastic about the work. However, I'm just doing a little color holds on the hair, just a little bit, um, especially like around the top, because it's supposed to be like a little bit glowy. Yeah, lots of characters far in the background of an animation, and like it's clearly a doodle. Yeah, yeah. Do fans complain about that stuff? Because they need to understand how things are made. A lot of this stuff too is like, so I spent a long time like rendering. Who was it? Spock's face in this one panel. I can't give you the details of like why it's important that like Spock's face is important, but like in this panel it's particularly important. So I spent a lot of time like rendering it, making sure that it looks as pretty as I can get it. You know, like as well rendered, and it's always weird because it's like I'm gonna put a lot of effort into that, and then um, his shirt is just like a couple of tones, and it like it almost looks out of place, but like the way there, you also have to keep in mind that the way that people read comic books is they look at faces and hands, and usually that's about it. Like whenever they're like reading a page, reading something on a page, um, they read the word balloons, they look at the faces, they look at the hands, um, for like acting cues, and then that's usually about it. So like that's where you want to pour your time. Uh, yeah, I don't know if I have anything to add to that other than it's a thing. Spend your time on faces. Spend your time on hands. You don't get those right, the whole thing will look weird. Can we just all the way around on her? Yeah. All right. I think you look exclusively at crotches. Good news. I'm polishing those up too. I think I'm done. What do you all think of Marcel? I think it came out great. She's like doing her hair. It's like a nice character moment. We didn't have to go too crazy on anything but the hair. Uh, had a good time with this. Love me some Delicious in Dungeon. Please read Delicious in Dungeon. I actually have some more Delicious in Dungeon to color, but we're gonna take a break from it and color something else. About zooming to color, spend a little extra time with amateur manga colors. They zoom in a lot because color on their cell phones with their fingers. Most of them don't even have a dig a pencil. Thanks, Dioutra. Um, yeah, they. I mean, like, it's just pro stuff versus amateur stuff. You know, like part of being pro is being like, okay, we got to get this done and out in like a certain amount of time. We have to make it look as good as it can look. How do we get there? You know, how do we get there fast? And you know, amateurs will have all day to like tinker and tinker and tinker, but like, man, that deadline comes roaring in. You got to get it out. You got to get it out. Optimization. Start coloring with your finger on my phone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, clearly the Adobe products aren't doing it for me. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Uh, Clearly the Adobe products aren't doing it for me. So I have another Delicious in Dungeon that I want to do. It's another chapter break one. It's this one with my favorite Chilchuck. Is that his name? I don't think I've ever said it out loud. Um, so I'm very excited to do this one because we have a very we got like good distance between the characters here, so we can do like a they're in the light, he's in the dark, he's hating it. They're like, you can do it, you know, like I think that'll be super fun. So I think we'll do that at some point. But for right now, I'm gonna call it. If you're into games, we're doing Deep Rock Galactic on Friday. Hopefully this weekend we'll do some Fire Emblem. It depends on how long it takes for me to edit the podcast, get everything out. So the podcast is definitely coming out. You can find it on YouTube or anywhere podcasts are sold. It's world's second finest. It's also on my YouTube with art of the comics that we're talking about. Jason read Ducks this past week, and we talked a lot about Ducks. Man, Ducks is a great comic book. Ducks, 2 Years in the Oil Sands, I think it's called. Kate Beaton. What a beautiful book. We gushed about it again, because I brought it to the podcast like a year ago, and he brought it to the podcast the other day. So very excited to give that discussion to you guys. That pops up on every Sunday, so check that out. Thanks for hanging out. If you want to take a shot at coloring this, hop into the Discord. The line art is up there, ready for you to just pull it down and have a shot coloring this. Thanks for hanging out.